Hello? Hello? There we go. Hi guys. So welcome to another Tarcy Talks. Small break, 1 week. Uh, Honestly, last week, guess I wasn't really feeling it. No, it's kind of tired. Working on Ateneo requirements. So figured, okay, we've already passed the 25 episode mark anyway. So it's a good time for a break, at least even for just 1 week. That would be it. So yeah, message Joshua. Didn't really have anything in mind for an episode, so okay, 1 week break it was. Uh, Honestly, maybe I should have saved it for this week kasi yun yung medyo mas maraming kailangan gawin. Requirements for Ateneo are due this week. Meetings already starting at Pisay and all of these things. So, but I told myself that it would just be a break for 1 week. And yeah, so I am a man of my word, as much as I try to be. And here we are. So on episode 26. So it seems. Let's see. What was the last episode? The last episode was on reviewing some Tarsi Talk questions, or well, I suppose no, reviewing some picking your brain questions. So the things that we normally put at the end of quizzes, because I needed to burn time to students. And so quite a bit has happened since then. We're stuck in another ECQ. So we're basically reliving last year. And by this time last year, already in lighter conditions. I think so, maybe. Already August. So maybe not exactly same as last year's. But it feels like back to the start again. But well, the moment is what we can do to help with lessening the spread of the pandemic. So it's what we'll have to do. I suppose if Joshua were here, I don't know. That we have that collective responsibility. We don't want to put any other people at risk. And yeah, I myself got vaccinated last Thursday, my first dose. And oops, I'll find the call already. Okay. Uh, Discord bubble. So okay, so I got vaccinated last Thursday with my brothers, and got hit pretty bad with the side effects. I was out for pretty much the whole of Friday and most of Saturday. Uh, and yeah, thankfully we were able to get it before the Easter started, so there wasn't as much panic. But that depended on your location, because you could see on the news later that night that there were places that were really crowded to get the vaccine, and yeah, it looks really dangerous. So remember to always try to be safe. Keep yourself safe, keep your family safe by practicing proper distancing, by avoiding possible dangerous occasions that might come into contact with people. Try to limit going outside as much as possible. And yeah. Uh, okay, so Josh is really here. Oh, hi, Becca. Okay, so now that Josh is here, let me just in the call, or well, I'm already in the call. It's just that I'm deafened. Hello?
Hello.
Okay, hang on. Let me just switch scene. Okay. There we go. Alright, you're on.
I'm on. Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Is it me or is it my internet that's delayed? Huh. Anyways, hi everyone. Good evening. Exactly when I just got on, it's raining here, so I'm not sure if that affects our internet. So, but yeah. Hi, hi, hi. Hey everyone. It's been a while. It's been What, 2 weeks from
Two
our last
weeks. We skipped one
from
episode,
our
so
last
yeah, 2 weeks.
um our bad. Sir Tarcy wasn't feeling well. And I wasn't ready for any solo stream. So with whatever we could have done. So I guess we needed that break, especially that we were going on it for a while now. I know this is pretty low, not low budget, chill, low chill kind of a uh kind of stream. But yeah, we kind of needed that day off. So hi Bianca, hi Hans. Nathan's there. I think he's still eating. I had to rush up to join Mark. So with that 2 weeks, it's a lot of has happened. Updates. So my brothers are vaccinated for their first dose. I got vaccinated way back then, like
Mm-hmm.
July,
Yeah,
first half
July.
of July. Yeah, I'm already done, but it's Sinovac, so I'm not allowed in the United States. I won't be able to. There's a lot of places I won't be able to travel. There are news about Sinovac not being that much effective, but still, should I use the line? The best
Hmm?
vaccine, the one that's available to you. But in all seriousness, that was the one that was offered to me during that time, and I was the one who was able to sign up. Mark was busy at the time, so he wasn't able to sign up, but at least he was able to get his AstraZeneca shot. With that, uh, am I lagging? I think I'm the one that's lagging because Mark, are you here?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can hear you. Your video is lagging a little bit,
Huh. Wonder why.
and
Anyways, my
I'm feeding back into. I can hear myself in your no, your audio.
really,
Are you using voice meter?
no, that's why. That's weird.
Mm. Anyway,
Oh, anyways, what happened? Oh, um, Avatar. Avatar: The Last Airbender came up with a Kickstarter for its table role playing game. So it's D&D but in an Avatar setting. So it shows much promise. It has its own system, own mechanics, and so on and so forth. And the Kickstarter within 16 minutes, it actually doubled it passed its goal, and then it's now I think it doubled. So
wait.
that's
So
something to look forward to.
it's only just a Kickstarter. I thought it's already been no, it's already out.
Okay, what's out is the quick start rules, something that you can play with, something that's short. You can make your own rules as you go on and so forth. However, the in-depth rules, the books that supply information, campaign, and so on, they're still underway. But it's nice that they were able to actually share the quick start rules for free. And that's something that I kind of wanted to try maybe for one of our sessions. One of our episodes here is that maybe we can invite someone to play with us. Sir Tarcy might be a bit busy with this, with a lot of him doing some stuff. So maybe if I if I'm free enough from my studies and playtime, maybe I could actually learn the system and then gather some people who we could guest here. Just a short one, just an intro, just to show how the rules are made, what does it look like in a Avatar setting, and so on and so forth. I hope there are a lot of Avatar fans here. Mark, did you finish? You watched Avatar: The Last Airbender,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I watched all of it.
That's good. Did you watch Korra?
Yep.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
No, that's
fine.
I'm still stuck at the second to the last season. So, okay, mas lamang pala si Marcus sa akin. But I've been spoiled with with everything that's happened in Korra, so it's not something that I'm looking forward to finish. But at least, yeah. Anyways, we're big Avatar fans. Mark's a big fan of the movie. Are you?
I haven't watched the movie.
Oh, really? You should watch the movie. Like, right, everyone in chat. Please, let's have let's have a movie review by Sir Tarcy
I mean, we
on
can
what's
watch the
the
highlights
impression
or
on.
something.
Don't spoil him. Anyways,
I know. If ever we can do ano, I think maybe it would be nice to do a like session zero.
yeah,
On
session zero.
uh,
Oh, that came out, and just this week also as well. Sorry. last week, for those that play Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, the beta for it's Left 4 Dead 3, or now known as Back 4 Blood, came out, and I actually was able to get a beta key. So
Oh, really?
I played it. Yeah, I played it several times with my friends, and it's really good. Um, it's not worth the 2.5 yet for me, but it's really fun. Uh, you should really try if you get a chance to play it. For those that have played the franchise back then, there's a free it's free right now, and their feedback, whatever, they're really trying to get as much feedback they can get from the players, new and old, on how to improve the game. They introduce a card system that randomizes each player, also each event, each campaign, and it's something really that it's they're trying to see whether or not it fits for this set of players in this age, and it's really really good. I really think that it's something that we should uh, uh, we should help them with. Like whenever whenever Mihoyo would come out with a survey, you get 50,000, sorry, 30,000 more if you answer this survey. I mean, are you looking for the rewards? Well, yeah, mostly all of us are, but mostly it helps them make the feedback that they get, uh, whether or not it was done honestly or not. It still helps drive the producers, the game developers, in making their service better for their customers, and that's where we come in. Feedback.
So that was your lead
Such a
in.
segue. So
How long were you
that's the
preparing for that?
that's the segue what we're going to talk about. Feedback. I have to just close the window. I think
Yeah, yeah.
there's another kind of feedback that you're getting right now.
How long were you preparing that lead in? Parang,
No, 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 no,
that sounded very rehearsed, honestly. Parang,
no. I think in my mind, I was just thinking, oh, okay, I could use that. Anyways, we were talking about feedback. The reason because is that Sir Tarcy, if he did mention earlier that he's been doing a lot of work with in relation to his studies in Ateneo for his masters. Masters about, or is that still your undergrad course?
no, it's already master's proper.
That's ready to
So
masters.
just for now, just for context, so I mentioned before on stream that taking my master's in computer science, and I've also mentioned that I've always I now kind of view myself more teacher first, computer scientist second, and then maybe physicist. I'm almost close to dropping it, but maybe it's still there. I mean, but so I've been taking advantage of my master's classes in Ateneo. Whenever there's a project, as much as possible, I try to align the project within the context of something that can be used in education. And right now, I'm taking a class on human-computer interaction, and the goal was that we're supposed to develop a tool, an app, a website, a service, uh, and then make sure that it addresses human computer interaction needs, that people are able to use it for their. Parang it's a very user centric approach to developing tools. If you're developing an app and you say that you wanted to do this and this and this and this, then that's a tool centric approach. But when you're using a user centric approach, the idea is that okay, what does the user feel? What will the user do? And all of these things when it opens the app. So always from the perspective of what the user will be able to accomplish when they use your tool.
Could you give
And
us an example? Like, okay, that there's a lot of technical things that my mind suddenly went, ooh.
okay,
For
so
those that are
sige.
interested in ComSci, this is what you're gonna do for masters. But
Honestly, this is honestly less comsci, and I think it's more along the lines of even along the lines of commercial, ano? Kasi has more
it's
to
not
do with ano
elective.
eh. It's actually an elective. Uh,
Ah,
to take my particular project example, so uh, I have trouble with uh, are, most of these people are graduates, no? So I have trouble with K-Hub. So, in that it's hard for me to. One of the inconveniences I have with K-Hub is that I cannot. Normally, what I want to do is I want to message directly the people who are having trouble, and it's hard for me to find those people who have trouble. It's hard for me to get an overview scope. I have to enter each assignment and so on and so forth. And so I kind of okay. I mean, uh, necessity is the mother of invention. So I had needs. I wanted to solve it. So um, yeah. Now, so basically, my idea was to create a requirement tracker, both initially for teachers, but we kind of had to expand it for students because if there were no students submitting,
Ooh,
then what's the
ooh.
point? So,
Agad
um,
deleted apps. Boo. Just kidding.
okay, so
Let's hear from the chat if is this something that you think would you want your requirements tracked by the like let's say an app or would you rather wanted something that you don't see it out of sight out of mind mga ganon if it comes about later on then I'll think about it but present me doesn't have to worry about it. Let's hear from the chat later on. But yeah, go go ahead.
you're a current teacher. Should you really be saying that?
No, me too. Whenever I say student has not yet passed, out of sight, out of mind. Just kidding. I can't do that. I'm legally bound that I have to address that problem
That's true.
immediately. But I try to make it as when is the latest point that I have to address that problem? Mid-quarter report. Okay. Malayo pa yung mid-quarter report. Sige. But the problem is, for a teacher,
Mm.
pagdating ng mid-quarter report, hala, lahat hinahalukat ko na lahat ng mga requirements nila. Kulang ba siya? Kulang ba siya? No, oh no, oh no. So, I guess what the problems of students are, there are also problems on the part of the teachers. And yeah, I don't like
Anyway,
doing it. But
so
go
going
ahead.
back to ano, so the tool was basically to keep track of requirements on the teacher. You'll be able to easily see who hasn't submitted and easily be able to send them reminders. On the student part, you'll also be able to see what you haven't submitted all in one page. No longer the part of K-Hub na you have to go to each of your subjects and then see kung saan nawawala yung requirements mo. So it will be summarized for you. And all of these things. And if a teacher sort of sends you a notification that asking you, okay, are you okay? What's wrong? Do you need help with your assignment? You can form. There's a quick response in which you can kind of check off. Okay, the reason for submitting late is not feeling well or internet problems, technical problems, need more time, etc., etc., etc. So makes it easier. Parang less need for uh, parang it lessens kind of
Human
the hump
interaction?
the hump that you have
Uh,
to get over to ano kasi
uh,
it's hard sometimes to reply parang yeah to master the energy required to formulate a reply to a teacher so to compensate for
is
that
it scary?
parang hmm?
Is it scary for you taking up your masters? Would you say, and also for chat, something that I kind of want to hear because I did just receive a message from a student. She's so stressed that something happened to her to her rest group that it got disbanded because of the sectioning, and she doesn't know what to do. And I said, she said, should I message my advisor? And it comes to me that is it a problem? We go back to feedback. Uh, is it really hard to muster up? Would it be courage? Would it be what would you say? Energy? Would it be respect? To muster up that respect to message that professor, that personal authority, or so on and so forth. Um, for you as a teacher right now, but is who is also a student um in masters.
Honestly it does take effort I mean I'm
Really?
I,
Like what goes in your mind?
no, I mean it takes more effort I think for some people. So I think you might not be one of those people who Okay,
No,
kasi
well, okay. Well, how
mm,
I am sa bahay kasi
ah.
at the house is that I always ask to the point that um my parents and my brothers would tell me, tumingin ka kaya? Like I'd ask, asan yung suka, asan yung soy sauce, asan yung baso, asan yung mga plato, asan yung I'm not that helpful at the house. So when I'm looking for things in particular, uh they at least they'd respond somehow. But I'd ask. But I guess it does come from maybe history. Like maybe a student had come into uh an event that they were given harsh feedback, or in a way that something that the teacher wasn't approachable. So are these factors that prevent a person from seeking help? Seeking help when it's a valid seeking sought valid search for help.
Well, I mean, ano, uh, again, it really depends on the individual. Uh, some people don't like standing out, and to ask a question is to stand out. If especially if maybe it's an online, you're attending a synchronous class, and you have a question. So I I don't know, parang I still
So you
remember.
would say it's isolated. So if I were to ask you, how many students that had problems in ComSci actually consulted with you last school year? Would it be isolated, or do you think it's a lot that it's a general thing? Because if it's a general thing, should the change come from how we understand giving feedback? Like, is it a student problem or is it a teacher problem? Is
No,
it
no, no.
both?
It's I think it's more of a habit problem. That's uh, honestly, I think we've all gotten used to the idea of uh, okay. So first, let's first identify kind of like the difficulties of asking for feedback. First off, you don't. I think people don't want to. I'm imagining myself. I've uh, attending my synchronous class in human computer interaction, and there are times that I've had to speak up. I had to ask a question about something, and I remember, was it you guys who said it na parang because okay, just to so back in that first meeting of the human computer interaction class, um, most of us didn't know each other in the class. It was a mix of undergrad and graduate students, and we were supposed to work on a project for the entire intersession, for the entire summer semester. And I mean, the teacher asked us, "Okay, do you guys know each other?" And then parang there were a few tentatives, a little bit. We recognize a few names and so on and so forth. Okay, so try to choose someone to group up with, and then see if you can work on a project together for the rest of the semester. And choosing a name that sounds familiar to you is a very poor basis for choosing a group mate. So I was thinking, I don't want to group up with someone I barely know. I mean, I didn't know anyone in the class anyway, but I kind of want to work with someone who wants to work on the same thing as I do. So I had to speak up. So what I did was I unmuted my mic, and I made the suggestion, ma'am, maybe you can open a discussion forum, and then people can post their topics of interest, and then we can group up like that. And then she agreed. And I remember telling this to you, I think, or to someone, and then you guys were commenting, "Wow,
Not
ano
me,
ka
not me, not
naman."
me. Not me, but I would say, ang bibo mo naman.
Yun, sabi ko na parang gano'n.
No, literally, this is my first time hearing that. So, okay. But yeah,
Anyway, so,
it's information that was
hmm.
able to help you, I guess, in that scenario. I guess
Pero,
it's putting yourself out there
yeah,
that's a bit scary for others.
uh, I don't know, it's part, I think it's more along the lines of Filipino culture. Parang you don't want to stand out, especially if it's such an unsure thing. I mean, if it's something that will draw praise to you, parang yun yan, parang you have correct answer, but no, you're just making a suggestion which may or may not be accepted. So there's a tendency not to kind of hesitate to give it. In fact, what happens more often than not, I think, is in a classroom setting, especially in high school, you'll mention it to your friends first. Uy, what do you think about this? Parang baka naman pwede itong gawin natin. And then until once you've gotten like the silently agreed amongst yourself to get the majority, then you kind of okay. So who's going to bring it up with mom or sir? And you choose the usual suspects, the class president or yung mga ka-close ni ma'am or sir. And then papalila silang kausapin si ma'am. And then that's how it gets known. But to actually kind of you yourself, parang on your own, ma'am, sir, I have a suggestion. That doesn't happen. I mean, not
Boo.
not very often.
I would, if you were there, I would immediately throw the paper to you and say, "Boo!" No, just kidding. But I guess so. It does make sense the way how you put it. Nathan did say, is it uh, is it still a valid question if you're supposed to know the answer already? Like if paulit-ulit na yung tanong. I guess that's in relation to me. Na if I keep on repeating the same question, is it something that needs to be raised? Okay, that does make sense. But I do only ask like a few times, not that many. Anyways, going back to you, so do you feel like the automation integrating computer science technology, I guess, I'm just spewing out science words, but integrating these processes, do you think it helps bridge the gap between students and teachers when it comes to feedback?
No, it
Like
provides
if
an out.
it's, yeah, if it's something that you have to have a prompt from the teacher side, from the student side, but if there's a system that is cold, soulless, and emotionless that does the bridging for the both of you, um, is it something that helps?
It provides an alternative. That's the ano, parang so for people who don't mind standing out, who parang not hesitate to raise their hand, stand up, and then say why you're wrong, then go ahead. Parang that option is still to you. I mean, and for us in still who's still in online learning, if you'd rather directly email your teacher with the subject of the email saying you are wrong because etc etc. Okay, I mean go ahead. I mean I would advise you that all feedback should still be delivered respectfully. So um, there's that. But if you prefer the direct method, then go ahead. If you prefer more anonymous method, you don't want to stand out, or you're afraid that somehow this feedback will reflect poorly on you, then this is also an alternative. So the more options you provide people, then the higher chances of winning.
The reason why I raised this is because for those in chat right now, or those who will be able to watch this, in order to describe what Mark's feature is preparing, is that there's actually a small button at the bottom right corner of his program
No,
that
no,
says
no, no.
notify all those students that have
Ah, right. That one.
deficiencies. See, I told you that
Oh,
have
that one, yeah.
deficiencies. So in the
Okay, that's
scenario,
right.
a send all button to remind all students that they have a deficiency. Is that could that be a solution? It could, in relation to teachers forgetting to remind the students. Anyways, it, putting back that and aside, just to answer a comment of to raise a comment raised by Nathan. He says, I mean, diba supposedly there are no stupid questions, so students shouldn't be afraid to ask. But as a teacher, I feel like there's a limit. Have you ever felt that as a teacher? There was a student that really uh, repeats the question or keeps on making the same mistake,
No,
and
no, okay. In terms of stupid questions, it's more like there are questions in which you should be able to answer if you were to look for it. The most frustrating kind of question is they ask a question and it's still flashed on screen the answer. So, for example, Sir, kailan to Jew? And then it's it's
okay,
on the
okay.
screen. So, and as a computer science teacher, I encourage people to make good use of Google search. to search everything. And yun nga, parang there are things that sometimes it feels like it's spoon feeding. That you have students who are asking because they don't want to muster the energy, find the answer themselves. So
Mm,
those are the frustrating questions. There
that's
are
weird. No, no, go ahead. There are.
there are questions that parang I remember So you remember the story of Papa?
Go
Uh,
ahead.
he had a math
He has a
question.
lot of stories. Go ahead, go ahead.
So our dad, for those in chat, he's a precise student, and I think he was attending math in his first year, maybe second year, probably first year. And then he had a question, parang there was a basic algebra equation, 5 plus x, something like 5 plus x is equal to 8. And then, so I mean, okay, find the value of x and all of these things. And then he asked a question, uh, ma'am or sir, I don't know, uh, do we have to use x? Can we use y? Now, if you've done math long enough, I suppose if you're that teacher, been doing it for long enough, that would seem like a pretty quote unquote stupid question. But honestly, it's a question worth answering. Parang, okay, fine, it might seem basic, it might seem obvious to some, but sometimes it's those more basic questions that are harder to find answers to because yeah, parang it's assumed that you know the answer. So in which case, I mean, go ahead and go ahead and ask it because sometimes it really is hard to find answer. But once you've exhausted, I suppose my suggestion to people with on regards to the obvious questions, once you've exhausted, try to find out. Always try to find out um how to try to solve the thing first before asking a question, uh, and then ask it because yeah, parang it's just try to show that effort. Um, it does, sometimes even just showing that I search this, I search this, I search this. Parang whenever I get an email
Hmm.
saying, "Sir, I'm having trouble with this assignment. I use this reference, it doesn't work. I use this reference, it doesn't work." Just seeing that already makes me feel better because
Oh,
I know that this student is trying.
oh,
Uh,
okay.
even though parang okay, you're just missing a semicolon, something like that.
So, in relation to that, missing a really, it could be that bad.
Hmm?
Coding, coding could be
I,
that bad.
I mean, the mistakes can be pretty silly.
Oh, okay. Well, in relation to that, to answer Nathan's question, is there a limit for the questions? I've never reached to that point. Like I've always the reason for me, whenever a student asks a question, I would always try to understand where is this question coming from, especially if it's a question that can be easily answered by, let's say, common sense or maybe something that they can easily find. So I try to figure out maybe they weren't able to read, or maybe they don't see it. Maybe they have a problem with sight, or maybe they have a problem recalling. That's why or maybe they don't understand the translation or the application and so on and so forth. So that's why I try to, although it might sound demeaning how I ask them why or how did you come about that question, what made you think that way. It's really honestly me trying to figure out where is this student coming from. Although it is time consuming, I guess, and the student just wants to know the answer. Uh that's me. I just don't have a limit when students ask because I think I'm like that when because I don't understand a lot of things back then, maybe up to now. Oh my gosh, up to now. That's why I keep on asking questions, or I hope that I could ask someone that would be enlightened. But yeah, in relation to what you said earlier, that um, if a student would show earnest effort on their part, that they tried to it out on their own, it does help on a teacher's perspective, knowing that maybe the question truly is a genuine question. can you easily determine whether if the question is pampiloso po lang or if a question is a valid question? I can't figure it out. I can't read sarcasm kasi.
Honestly, I don't bother differentiating. Parang if they're being sarcastic, then I mean the best way to respond to sarcastic questions is to just answer it properly, and then pretend as if you didn't notice the sarcasm. But
Well, okay.
honestly, I'm thinking back and I'm trying to remember frustrating questions uh, um, in my class, and then I hear this sometimes. Parang criticism against the students. You should, there are no stupid questions, and then they complain. Uh, the teacher answers says something like, "Eh, kakasabi ko lang eh," something like that. In that sense, I'll ask you, parang who do you sympathize with, the student or teacher?
I'd say the student. Grabe ko. I would never want someone. I don't know. Ikaw ba?
Okay, kasi my understanding
I
of
mean, you
that
get a lot of experience of that, I guess.
my understanding of that kasi is that okay, so the teacher has, I suppose, made it obvious in a not so nice way that he has to just provide the information. The student, on the other hand, has basically just admitted that he was not paying attention and was not able to hear that information. And okay, if we were going with that there are no stupid questions, then yes, if he doesn't know something, then he should ask, and the teacher should provide an answer. But at the same time, parang you can kind of get the teacher, kasi
Because you've been in that position so many
I've
times.
been in that position, and the thing is, in a classroom setting, I feel like the tacit agreement is that the teacher is doing his best to teach, to answer questions, all of these things, and the agreement is that the student will try to listen, try and pay attention. So if you're going to ask a question about something that he had literally just said, then I can understand why that would be frustrating for the teacher. Kasi parang I'm trying to teach here, I'm trying to give you all this information, and then kind of just want me to repeat it for you, parang, and just for you. I remember I used to have
In
this technique.
Go ahead.
I'm remembering something that I hope there's no hope it's not here. um, so you know how you.
What batch? What batch?
I'm not going to say the batch.
Oh,
Um,
what section at least?
I'm not going to say that.
Honestly, we don't know.
I'm not going to. Okay, so you know how when you ask the class, are there any questions, and no one's going to say anything. Very rare is the chance uh, uh, is the occasion that someone will actually say, "Actually, sir, I don't understand this part. Can you repeat this?" So,
Yeah.
yun nga, parang normally people just stay silent. So to counter that, sabi ko, parang my style was, okay, do you guys understand? If I don't hear a yes, I will repeat the entire thing. I think
What?
I,
What happened?
I think I repeated. I I, I did end up repeating a class. No, no. For some it worked. As in, parang they said, yes sir, gets namin, gets namin. But then I remember, there was a student who took me up on it. Parang, and he was pretty serious too. Parang hindi siya parang papiloso po na parang, sige nga, gawin mo nga, parang ulit mo class. No, he really wanted me to repeat the entire class. And I did. To the detriment of everyone else in the room. So,
Would you say
yeah.
detriment of everyone else? But I see, I see. I guess in that scenario, for being it hard for a student to know that it would affect how he would look like in front of class, or how it would affect the whole class, or even how the teacher would feel against the whole class by generalizing the whole class because of what one student did. Uh, would you still accept a question from a student? Let's say they really didn't understand. but they came to you instead of asking it in class, they came to you after class.
Ah, yeah. Then, kasi the main issue naman really with, bringing up a question in class is that you're taking up everyone's time. If you come to a teacher after class during their consultation hours, then you're taking up time that the teacher has specifically allotted for people to ask questions. So, uh, there are much less stupid questions during that particular period of time.
No, okay, okay, I get it. But in that scenario, it changes the perspective of a teacher when it comes to when you're generalizing a whole class in relation to how you treat that question, as
Actually, there.
opposed to how you treat the. Would you? I shoot. Hello, hello. Oh my gosh, that
Eh,
was a good. That was a good wrap up. Hello. No. Am I back?
yeah, yeah,
Hello.
you're back. You're back. Go.
Oh my gosh. Did you hear what I said?
Uh, the first part.
Okay. So you see that there might be a difference when it comes to how a teacher would approach the effect would be on a class if it would be approached as a general, as the whole class, and then as opposed to individual. See, nawawala it was so good earlier, as opposed to when you would bring it at the individual level. Now, in relation to what you're working on, as opposed to, and I can guess, I guess I can ask the students here as well. Um, how do you feel about when you receive like comments from a teacher saying that, reminding you, saying, "Oh, make sure that you pass your project on this date." There are certain groups, but they won't name. May mga hindi pa nagpapasa dyan. Okay, so it's a general announcement. As
Mhm.
opposed to how you would receive an individualized mail reminding you that um, the deadline is on this date, and I see that, well, the system recognizes it automatically, saying that you have not yet passed. Now, as a student, maybe I could ask people in chat, but also um, also, I see Bianca's ads. Not what I was expecting, but okay, there are people like that. We have to understand that there are people that would rather be addressed generally as opposed to individually. And I guess it helps. What Mark said earlier was that the more that you can try to provide as many options available, it gives the student much chance for them to provide feedback as well. The latter, at least the others don't know. Yeah, yeah. At former for the latter, the others don't know, and it helps. I guess there might be shame, or like not shame or guilt, because you tend to relate. You start relating yourself with others, how they perform. Maybe you might have a valid excuse on why you couldn't perform on your certain subjects, or baka may inuuna kang ibang subjects before this subject. And I know certain subjects tend to feel like more major than they should be. Comsci. Just kidding. Uh, no, actually, Comsci and Socsci, we usually pinakahuli na kami. We don't impose our dominance or importance in grade 10 or grade 9. But yeah, saying that, in relation to that, um where was I? Oh, what point was I getting to?
You're talking about general announcement as
Oh yeah, yeah,
opposed
yeah.
to
Okay.
specified feedback.
When you start comparing yourself with others on how they perform, you start to doubt on why haven't you performed this task yet when others have already done theirs. And it gets even blurrier when you're grouped with classmates that come from different courses, come from different maybe different status in life, or maybe like everyone is very different, especially in college. That's why you start pressuring yourself, or you start invalidating your valid reason why you haven't submitted yet, especially if it's not yet the deadline, or maybe if it did reach the deadline, you just didn't make your excuse known. That's why it became invalidated. So in this scenario, feedback. We're going back around to the topic, which is feedback. Uh,
Mm.
Early feedback is. any feedback actually is good feedback, good or bad. It's really good. And Mark, would you want to talk about before we wrap up? It's going to be 9. I thought it was short, a short stream. But how was the feedback? Okay, describe your project, and then what was the feedback that you were able to get from the teachers,
Mm.
especially me?
Okay, so going back to my project for Ateneo, we basically drew up a prototype. We did some interviews with some teachers, and based on their comments and suggestions, and students also. So based on all of this information, we
Show,
developed
show,
the
show,
tool,
show the
a
app,
prototype.
show the app.
I
Share,
know,
share, share.
no, I
Oh,
can't show
sorry,
it.
it's classified. It's
No,
not
I
allowed to show.
more of I can't show it because I might still have to interview more people,
Oh,
especially
okay.
students. So okay, so the idea, we develop a quick prototype, and then kind of, so the main part of the, uh, when you're doing user testing, is that you show it to the user and then try to have them work through it. And so this is another form of feedback, in which that we showed it to some teachers. We asked them to navigate through it with very minimal instructions. We wanted to make sure that the tool itself would kind of serve as its own explanation. And then, so I messaged a few teachers, asked them to look at it, comment on it, and honestly, feedback was pretty positive. Uh, in general, the most negative one is a teacher from Pisay, and he teaches grade. Gosh, what grade do you teach?
Wow, you were referring to me pala. I was thinking sa teacher Pisay. Grade 9 and 10.
Huh? Anyway, pero yun nga, I mean, I only interviewed like minority compared to my other group mates. Uh, but I think this was the most negative review. Okay, I can read a few responses, especially if it's from the teacher side. So the thing is, the tool that we made was made so that you could kind of get feedback just from looking. So there were a lot of new icons that we were introducing, and one of the major kind of uh, feedbacks or criticisms against it was that, okay, so they see an exclamation point, they don't know what it means. Joshua thought it was a report error. So
Yeah, I mean, obviously. What
yeah, I
should it
mean,
be?
honestly, yeah, it's fair because since I was the one who made it, or I was the one who came up with the idea of having send notification to all. So that exclamation point was kind of the button for teachers to send a notification to all students who have missed an assignment. So yeah, parang to me, okay, what does that icon look like? Okay, best thing I could think of is, okay, how do you send a notification? What's the symbol of a notification? Exclamation point. Okay, so let's put an exclamation point. So
Why? Exclamation point means warning. It's so scary for the students. Like, warning. Oh, I get you're trying to send a warning, but wouldn't a letter be a better icon to send notification?
and then they're going to wonder what the letter means. So honestly, okay, so
Oh,
just
oh, oh, the bell, the bell. Katrina raised. How about a bell? That's a whole different issue that Mark was
okay,
gonna
okay,
raise.
okay, okay. We made this in like three days. Okay, so parang I used the bell icon for something different. Normally, bell is for notification. I know it slipped my mind, but I used it to as a kind of, we had, because the tool has a different way of performing notifications. It's not live notifications. It's summary reports. So it will not update until you tell it to update. So as a student, for example, whatever assignments you have listed there, that will be your assignments that you'll work on, and it will not refresh or renew that until you open and generate a new summary report. So that's when, as soon as you click that icon, then you see, okay, so these are your new assignments since the last time you generated a summary report. this was the intention behind this was so that students can sort of manage the load that they can. So if this is all you can manage on your plate right now, don't pay attention to any new assignments. Just finish what you have on your plate right now.
Evading the question. What does
So
that summary report
yes, so
button look like?
since the summary report kind of replaced what the notification was for, I used the bell for the summary report, and then okay, you provided on your feedback. Okay, so can you see, can you see how feedback can be difficult, especially when it's being given back to you in such like, come on, you should have known that. Parang, diba? So parang, can you see how difficult some people are making it?
I'm sorry. I thought it was common sense that a bell notifications means notification, something like a timeline notification. That's what I was expecting when I pressed that button.
Yeah,
But then
okay,
it
and
brought me to
then
the report page and like, what's this? Why does it look like this?
okay, and yeah, you can make that feedback without making me look like a,
Oh, really?
without making me look dumb. Parang just say, this
I didn't
this
intend
probably
that,
isn't.
I'm sorry. You should maybe we should make them watch the video of how the
No,
how
no,
the
no, no.
feedback went. So they can judge, was I too harsh or was
No, no.
was I violated?
I mean, it's part of it is
But
because we're
yeah,
brothers. So, parang the informality of the whole feedback process was kind of got in the way of things. So yeah, there's that.
yeah.
Pero okay. So yeah, we got a lot of feedback, and we're in the process right now of compiling it. Honestly, the tool did well in terms of intention. So the purpose was pretty spot on, pero execution, placement of things still needs work. So I can't show it because we still need to submit it, and there's possibly still a need for more interviews. But yeah, okay. So sige, I think that's a good point. Can we, Uh, no, I was thinking that we could talk about why your feedback was being so
Yes.
so poorly received by me. Do you want to talk about that, or do you want to
Was it
talk
clear
about?
received? I thought it was high. I thought you said it was the best feedback you got.
No, I said no. I said that
Yeah.
you gave us the lowest rating out of all of that feedback we
Oh,
received.
yeah. But it was the honest, the most. That's what I also wanted to raise. Like, why was my feedback the most outlier compared to the others? And that's what I wanted to ask. Like, was it because of the level of relationship between us that I was able to give a more honest feedback? It was honest. It was really honest. I would say brutally honest, but I was kind of nice. No, I wasn't nice. I wasn't nice, but it helped. That's what I was intending.
Yeah. I mean, I can't deny that. It's
Because
true.
if you were to compare my feedback, would you? I mean, if you were to compare all the feedback that you were able to get from various teachers that you know at a varying degree, and I would say that I would be the closest that you would know. Well, aside from people you work with comsci, but closest because we're brothers.
Mm.
But in relation to that, does that like the relationship also change the quality of the feedback on how, like, if let's say if Mihoyo treats you like trash or treats you like the F2P player that you are, would you still give them an honest feedback? So for those that are Genshin players in relation to that, but like for a student and teacher, is it something that is automatic on the part of the student to give honest feedback to the teacher, or do you have to build a repertoire, or do you have to build a repertoire, a trust, or something, or is it a given that you
No,
always have to give honest feedback?
no, the thing is, there are a lot of factors when it comes to how honest a person is during feedback, and closeness with the student. I would not rank as like the highest factor. In fact, in some cases, it can even be a debilitating factor. I mean,
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I agree.
uh, so for example, you're going to ask, okay, there's feedback on a teacher or maybe the module of a teacher. So question is, who's going to read it? The teacher or admin? So if it's going to be admin, I think the tendency is students become a lot more honest. If it's the teacher itself, then
They might be
yeah,
afraid.
they're going to hesitate to be as blunt as they can.
But
Um,
yeah, it comes to, do we forget what the objective of the thing is? Like for me, my objective when I gave that harsh feedback, why are we characterizing it as harsh? Uh, but my objective was to make sure that it helps you create a better product.
yeah,
That was my objective.
yep.
Could it be possible that the other teachers, when they gave feedback, they didn't want to hurt your feelings on the work that you made?
I
I mean,
mean,
hurting your feelings so easy for me. I'm not saying it's easy for me, but I'm saying that it comes to second when it comes second when it comes to the better objective, which is for you to make sure you meet your goal.
honestly,
You
mm,
like their feedback than mine?
kasi I'm
You're
comparing it.
hurting my feelings now.
I gave kasi I basically took two interviews from two teachers that I know very well. So one was you. There was another comp sci teacher. Thing is, he pretty much gave the same feedback as you, pero I think I received it
Really?
better from her. I mean, she also the thing is she also phrased it parang for example, kasi I remember the interview the testing that we did,
Your interview
and then
colleague.
okay, parang you were parang why is this here? Parang you were tracking like that, and then the other teacher parang weird na nandito to. So
Same
parang
objective, same
yeah,
question. It's just phrased differently.
and exactly. So the phrasing of some people are better than others.
Ah, okay. Okay, that's a valid point. That maybe as well how we give feedback, although we tend to gravitate towards the objective, we forget the method on how we give the feedback.
Mm.
Uh, yeah, yeah. I guess it's something valid. Like what happened with the end of year report. People tend to feel more passionate about, overly passionate, that they forget that the manner on how they say it is also might also be important on the person that receives it. Okay.
Mm.
In this scenario, I've learned my lesson. Okay, I'll be nicer next time. But okay, it does make sense. I guess I understand now. See, we're learning.
Okay. I think with regards to this, one thing that might be helpful is that uh, it's okay that your feedback comes from. Uh, Sometimes people like to say that feedback is an objective thing. I don't agree. Feedback can be emotional. If something made you feel bad, then it might not be an objective thing. Then you can comment on it. You can use it as feedback. Uh, Maybe in a class you didn't like the tone of the teacher. It made you feel weird or it made you feel uncomfortable. You might say that's very subjective, but no, it made you feel that way, and you have a right to give that feedback. But even though the subject of feedback can be emotional, can be subjective, the way that you present your feedback should be objective. I think that's enough. So
Oh
uh,
no, sorry na. I'm
I'm not
sorry.
I'm not referring to anyone here. I'm not referring to anyone here. Just saying. But okay,
Yeah,
sige, let's. I think it's. Is there
it's
anyone?
nice.
Um, let's ano. I this might take a bit more, pero I guess my question I want to end this on. What's your ideal system of feedback, or parang how would you like feedback in general to work in an ideal situation? Say I know before you used to do this quarterly feedback, which parang your students basically rallied against you na parang, no sir, we don't want to give you. back kasi there's nothing to feedback on. You're so nice, or etc. etc.
Wait,
Parang
wait, I have
wait.
students here. They were my previous students. To okay, for those that weren't my students, to help to justify, to give credence to what Mark's bastardizing what I do. My feedback that I ask from my students at the end of the quarter is that I ask always for them to be as objective as possible, to give me one positive thing that they learned from the quarter in relation to subject matter, like what were the lessons that they really enjoyed. The second question was, what was the least thing that what was the thing they least enjoyed learning about subject matter? Okay, lessons. The third question was that, what was their favorite mode of learning? What was the subject manner, or how I taught the lesson? So, like, was it the games? Was it the activities? Was it the movies that we watched? Was it the PowerPoint presentation? So on and so forth. The fourth one is, what were the ones that they least liked? Uh, the fifth question was that, give me one positive trait that you like from the teacher, that that your teacher should keep for the next quarter. The next one was that, give three negative traits of your teacher that you would want to change for you to learn better. Now, in this scenario, I made it in a way that it was mandatory. Oh, but I asked them to remove their names, so that at least it's anonymous. Again, the objective was not to specify who the student needed help or who I needed to adjust to, but how to adjust to in general for the whole class. So that's why I asked for three negative traits of the teacher, or three, if not negative, what are the three least traits that I needed to work on? Although the students were hesitant on answering, because I said that if you don't put something there, I'm going to look at your handwriting, match it with your essay papers, and then find out who you are, and then make sure that you provide. So they were forced to write. But in this scenario, it really did help me, especially in my first year of teaching. I realized that I didn't have a very loud voice. I had a really soft voice that only the people in front heard me, while the people at the back didn't hear me. Um, that was one of the major things that, uh, and I had boring presentations, so I had to spice up my presentations a bit. And two of my students here, Bianca and Hans, were able to experience that. Uh, so yeah, and it really helped. It did change the way how I taught my class, and it got better. And it's not, again, for me, my objective, because I was the one who placed it there. At least I was prepared to receive the negative comments. So there, to justify what you were trying to describe.
No, no
That's what the
comments
students
on
were hesitant on.
yung mga
No comments.
ano? Was there actually comments na, no sir, there's nothing negative, you're too nice, parang
Yeah, there were some. Okay, my comments on those that weren't able to give me constructive feedback on what to work on were a bit frustrating on my part. They said I'm too nice, so I should be a bit meaner. But in that scenario, I didn't know what to work on, and it was very important for me to figure out what to work on, because I know I'm not perfect, and I constantly need to improve myself. Especially that I'm not. I it's my. I, I'm not that. Sorry, I'm not a teacher professional. I'm not a professional teacher. And I'm still learning the ropes. And it helps me, whatever feedback that helps me build myself is very much welcome. So if they say I'm too nice, what can I do? So yeah.
okay. But parang for you, what's like your ideal scenario in how feedback should be? Kasi,
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that was the question you wanted to end with. In this scenario, it's something that I really it's something that I kind of think that it's very best for all scenarios,
mm,
regardless of regardless if it's good or bad. Uh, Quick feedback, and it's something that I fail on my part, that I don't give quick feedback back to my students in relation to when I check their tests. I only give important feedback. Mean to say, if a student is failing, that's the one that I prioritize to give feedback to. But if a student is doing well in my class, I tend not to give that person feedback. And it's something that I feel like it would give that student, it might give that student anxiety because he doesn't know how they're faring in the class. So it's, I think quick feedback is something that is very important. Good or bad, feedback is feedback that you can work on.
Mm. Hang on, there's a question
Hmm.
from Katrina. Could it be also be a factor that like people generally don't give good feedback unless they have a really good or really bad experience? It's true. Parang in your scenario earlier, parang they couldn't give anything. So I mean, if there's nothing, suppose the most equivalent of that is I can't think of anything. I think that you're doing great right now. Parang, I suppose
Ooh,
it's the equivalent of
for
ano.
me, that's actually important feedback. The fact that that person couldn't think of anything, it shows that I wasn't able to make an impression that could last long, or something that would help you, that would imprint in your mind long enough that would, remember something particular or specific.
No,
So
I don't
I
think
can interpret it that way.
I don't think the
Oh,
learning moment has to be memorable. If you can remember the information, that's good enough. So parang
yeah,
even if the
that's good enough. That's
information
good enough.
wasn't, pero I think more of even the information that so rather than submitting blank feedback, you write on the paper. I think you're doing okay as if you continue what you're doing right now. I think that's the best. Parang, or ang, yun nga, parang if it's not broken, don't
Yeah,
fix it. Of course, if you can make it better, make it better.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
I see.
so naman, my ideal scenario for feedback, or parang, not really a scenario, pero parang, when it comes to feedback, what I want everyone to understand, in my ideal scenario, the giving of feedback is a situation in which everyone understands that uh, feedback takes effort, that uh, you have, it takes effort to give feedback, it takes energy for, so yeah, it's better to lessen the obstacles if there are any. When it comes to giving feedback, whether it's to provide avenues for feedback, more opportunities for feedback, and it's better to put them. Feedback hurts, so um, yun
Don't
nga,
personalize it, or
mm,
don't take it too personally.
kasi okay, parang you can say that okay, you word the feedback as best as you can. Parang see, ako maybe I receive a feedback on the modules that I make, the videos or stuff that I make for online learning, and saying you word it as nice, sir. I think the video it's great, but doesn't really address the content that I need, etc., etc. Okay, parang definitely good feedback, but the fact is, parang it's still going to hurt. Parang there is no parang walang personalan dito. Parang I'm just being honest. Parang no, I have to recognize na regardless of how honest you're being, regardless of
Uh,
how impersonal you're being,
yeah.
parang feedback is going to hurt to some extent. Parang but one you have to whether you're receiving feedback or you're giving feedback, what you have to recognize is, at least I hope, that the intention is not directed to you as a person. It's more on the work. And of course, sometimes that's the reason it hurts because you spend so much time on that video, on that module.
Sorry na.
Ano.
Are you still referring to
I'm
what I
not referring to
received?
that.
I
I'm
feel
referring to
like
my actual videos, my YouTube videos that I made for anyway.
okay. I feel like it's that direction. Especially you're looking at me on the camera, so I feel like sorry.
No. Okay. So, yeah, parang if a person gets hurt from parang don't parang uh, don't brush it off as parang, kasi sometimes, yun nga, parang we'll say na, okay, someone kind of reacts to getting feedback in a negative way because, yun nga, the fact is feedback hurts. And then we kind of like judge the person as not being able to take feedback well. I mean, fact is it will hurt. So parang if a person is hurt, that's like most obvious outcome. So if ever we're going to judge them, let's judge them by how they use that feedback. If they do use it well. So if
Okay, that's interesting.
kasi parang if a person is bitter about the feedback, then definitely we can kind of hold that against him. Parang, what are you doing? I'm giving you feedback. I know it hurts. I know that you spend a lot of parang you put a lot of effort into it. Pero I mean, I'm trying to give you feedback,
Yeah.
regardless if you
Yeah.
want to actually help the person or not. Parang you're just giving your comments. If the person is hurt, but use that hurt to make things better, then we can say that he took the feedback well. So and we can appreciate that in that person. So parang
Oh
yun yung ideal ko.
no.
So if for me in my head, if everyone recognized those things, that feedback is difficult, that feedback hurts, and that feedback can sometimes take time to change, to act on feedback takes time. Then if we operate on those simple ideas, feedback becomes, I think, easy to normalize feedback, that you can just raise your hand and say, sir, parang mali ata yung ano. Okay, done. But the thing is, there's all these complications about emotions, about, I mean, we can't help
Oh
emotions, pero
no.
we have to,
I have a problem. I'm having flashbacks right now.
okay, go ahead.
I have a lot of uh I think a lot. Well, not a lot, but there are some problems that were raised because of maybe because of how I gave my feedback. It was because when I give feedback, it's very impersonal because it always gravitates towards the problem. I always highlight it's the problem, but I guess the way how impersonal, I guess the way how I phrase my feedback, it does. Now, I don't consider the emotion of the one who receives it. Shoot. Okay, it's learning experience for me. I have to message these people, I guess. Uh,
No, I mean, I don't think now we necessarily have to adjust as itself, pero parang, even just to recognize that this feedback is going to hurt the person. I mean, sometimes there's no sugarcoating it. There's no, uh,
can't you just say with all due respect at the start of every sentence so that
no, don't cheapen that. Pero, yung I think what's more important is the fact that if you see the person react to your feedback and say they become sad, they become
oh,
hurt,
okay. See,
then
that's my
that's
problem. In this online setting, I I I think I don't recognize. Okay, that's why I have a lot of emojis whenever I make a sentence because that's how I phrase my sentence. That's how the mood I carry. That's why whenever I don't see an emoticon from someone I'm talking to, it's very hard for me to read the emotion.
Mm.
Uh, it's very very hard for me. Promise. If you know Mass Effect, Elcor, they don't know how. They're an alien race that don't know how to vocalize their emotions. That's why they have to start their sentence with a feeling, like ecstatic. Then they would say their sentence, or depressed. They would say their sentence. Shoot, I can't read sarcasm. I can't read emotions online. So it's something I have to work on. But okay, okay. I get. I think I'm sorry. There's a lot of realizations that's coming to me right now.
Uh, I mean, I don't think we have to sugarcoat things. Pero I think we just need to recognize na depending on how they receive it, it might take them time to process feedback. Parang, yeah, if we for maybe if you're a teacher na parang, okay, give them feedback and you're expecting them to bounce back with the correct answer right away, then uh, yeah, parang maybe that's depending on the student, might be too much. Yun lang, parang if we recognize that feedback does cause such things, then I think it's a lot easier. Pero yun nga, to increase the, no, you're right. We need to increase the channels that all the subtext is increased. So again, for those attending online class, if you can turn on your cameras, please do so. It does help a lot. Really, parang, I think I'm the only one who turns on my camera in my in my class in Ateneo. I think I'm the only. Well, no, wait, there's another guy. There's another guy who turns on his camera. Pero parang no one else turns on their camera. Parang, sabi ko, why not? I feel awkward. Pero parang ayaw ko rin off kasi I know how it feels like to be in a room na walang naka-on na camera.
Ah,
So,
for me, it's the opposite naman. When I do lectures, I don't look for their faces, but I'm happy to read what they type in chat. That's why I keep on asking them, um, just type in chat your questions, or if you agree, or your answers in the on chat. I don't need to see their. Oh my gosh, I'm so
like,
magulo. I'm so complex.
like
uh,
poggers, omega lol.
no naman. Mga ka-S lang, mga ganun. Uh, Anyways, so I guess that's it for our
Mm.
topic on feedback. Did we make sense? We only see 3 likes. Let me add that like here from the side. Oh no, I'm using the account.
Yun nga, I don't. Is-
Sounds like. Did we make sense? Feedback such as a like helps. If we didn't make sense, dislike. That's feedback that we can work on. Maybe you want to see more gaming on this channel. Maybe you want to see more other topics such as relationships. I don't know.
I mean, you had one already.
Oh, Bianca asked, "Have you seen So True, Bestie?"
What's that?
What's that? Same question. Same question from both of us. Is it a documentary? Docu-series? Is it a show? Asking feedback from chat. Yes, please. um, it helps keep us alive. I guess it really helps us know that there are people that are here online at this time. I guess that was one of the things that kind of made us feel like um why Sir Tarcy wasn't that motivated last week from streaming was because he's still waiting for the silver play button to be displayed
No.
at the back. But we actually something that we a goal, a really goal that I know we're very chill. We're super chillax sa stream na to. Although it feels a bit lectury or feels like a bit sermon, but more on we really hope that we can get a community page here. Like so it would be so easy for us to make posts because most of the posts that we make, I forgot to post on Twitter. I'm so sorry. Most of the posts comes from my personal Twitter account, and I've been gravitating to outside of Twitter so that I can concentrate on Genshin, on other things. There's so much spoilers on Twitter right now, so that's why I'm trying to. I mean, it's not like I could ban all words from Twitter so that I don't see it, but uh, we hope that we could get a community page, and the requirement for a community page is
I think
well,
1,000 subs.
oh my gosh, really?
I think so.
Maybe we should require it at the start of the school year.
No.
Please follow and
No.
like this page. Oh, hi, David. Oh, David was here pala. I didn't notice this. Okay, hi. So David Magnaya is here, a student of mine. Oh my gosh, a student of mine. I thought we didn't have students that were online, puro college. But hi, nice to see you. Yeah, that's it. We're going to bring more fun content soon. The only this was really supposed. Oh, Alice is also here. Uh, Good evening. This was supposed to be a short stream, right? Just to talk about your project.
Not really. Parang, pero,
Really? I thought you were busy.
well, yeah, I am. Pero, uh, that does not mean that I'm not going to do a full episode. Okay, pero
Everyone that has Genshin,
with
see at
regards,
9:30 he's going to start Genshin.
no,
He's busy.
no, wait. Tonight I have to collect some stuff for essential materials,
Oh,
so I might be,
okay. For
you know,
others, are you pulling for your Mia? How about you, Mark? Are you pulling for your Mia?
more for
No, you're
Sayu
pulling
than
for
anything.
you, right? Of course. It's fun watching Lily Pichu talk about it now that she's allowed to talk about it. And she's, if you watch her stream, she's really trying to grind all the way to Inazuma, but she's like still at her Mondstadt quest, so
Hmm.
she hasn't done Dragon Spine yet, so it's a long way. But I think she can still wish naman for her character. But still, which ascension materials? Bianca's asking.
Yeah,
Share
why not?
UID. Oh, check my. Send me a PM on Twitter. I'll share my UID. What ascension material are you look? What? Oh, Marrow, the
The
crystal
Crystal
marrow
Marrow.
for. I have a lot of that. Nakuweed yung wala ako kasi there are a lot of quests that are asking for Nakuweed.
Hmm.
The doctor and the samurai. Uh, they both asked for a lot. So, ugh. Oh well. Anyways, yeah, the next update is still long way to go. But for those that are pulling for Yoimiya, at least now's your chance. Oh, I got C6 Chongyun and C6 Beidou. So, yay. I don't know how to use them. I haven't used Chongyun yet, though. I know you used Chongyun, right?
I mean, just for some domains, and because I didn't have a at the time I was lacking cryo, so
Okay. Yeah, I have to work on my characters. Anyways, any updates for this week? Oh, it's ECQ, so only if you really need to go out,
mhm.
choose one sacrifice. uh, but yeah, please stay safe. We've there are reports now that children there's a lot of children that are affected by the coronavirus, by the COVID, and it's really sad because they're the ones that are have been stuck ever since the start of the pandemic, and they're the ones who get sick. It's because might be carelessness from those that go out and come back home, and so on and so forth. So I know it's not. If we talk about governance, it's not really the best solution to go back to quarantine. But that's a whole different topic.
Mm.
Something that if you want to discuss with me, uh, message me. But yeah, just stay safe. We're expecting rains again this week, so hopefully to ease this heat we're experiencing after it's been very hot for the past 2 3 days, I guess,
Mm.
and so on and so forth. Any reminders? We're going to start the school year soon.
Yep.
Teachers are on board next week. Am I right?
Well, I mean, we already have meetings starting tomorrow.
You have meetings already?
This is
Wow.
Qualcomm tomorrow.
Oh, really? I didn't get the notification. See, feedback. I need notification. Oh my gosh. Wait, why are we having Stockholm?
Like, I mean, probably for the grades that were only just confirmed.
Oh my gosh, I have to check.
Check your
I have to check
calendar.
my
Check your
email.
calendar.
Check
It's
my
definitely on
email.
your calendar.
Oh no. Okay. Oh shoot. Work. Anyways, oh
Okay, that's probably a
man.
good place to end.
Yeah. Uh, we're saying work, but both of us are gonna go online and Genshin right after the stream. But it's 9:30. We hope we were able to bring some joy, some light, some message for you for the start of the week, and anything to help you out throughout the week. And if you guys want to uh message us, chat us up, feel free. Drop any topics on our Discord server. Promise.
Mm.
Although we don't moderate it heavily, we'd respond. Don't worry. Our topic suggestions is looking very very thin right now. But uh, if you don't want us talking about our life experiences in masters as teachers, feel free to raise any any
Mm.
topic. If you want us to do a cooking show, why not? Give us topics on what do you want us to cook. Send a message on Genshin Messenger when you're farming the essential materials, please. Me, I'm done with Ayaka. I can get her all the way to 90 na. So no more of that Sakura Bloom. Oh my gosh, so hassle. I couldn't see them. Like it's and I always have to bring out Lisa because she's the most effective to uh to strike the Sakura Bloom. Anyways,
Okay, so that'll do for this week. So again, any comments or suggestions, you can put them in the video itself, or you can go to our Discord. So free to comment there and. Uh,
like and subscribe.
right. Okay. So we'll see you guys next week. Bye, guys.
Bye everyone. Take care, take care.